I'll tell you a little about the company, my background is. Originally, I was an avionics engineer. That means electronics for aircraft. And the one thing about electronics in aircraft is that you must always get to the nub of any engineering issue. You can never apply a secondary fix to a primary problem. Even if to overcome that primary problem, you have to apply a lot of engineering. You have to do it. You can't just free it. You know?
Yeah. 这个 那个 John 他先介绍一下他自己的背景啊，他就是说他的公司他自己的背景是电子工程师啊，那么他也曾经做过一些航太电子的工作，那么他们对于这个在解决问题的时候哈，并不是说你把主要的问题解决了，这个事情就叫解决了，就是说你如果发现一个问题，把它解决了，你就算是解决了，它其实不是这个样子。其实有的时候你解决了一个问题之后，可能还会有第二个问题会跑出来。Okay?
So with that philosophy in me, I brought it over across into my company, Chord, when I went into this industry. And it was with that knowledge, when I was approached, after Chord had been running about 4 years, I was approached by a young engineer called Robert Watts. Now Robert, he was a very clever guy. I knew that because we discussed various things. He said he had a new concept of making a DAC. And I think some people would have said, well, how much would it cost, Robert? And he would have said, well, it will be very expensive. And at that point, I think the conversation would normally have ended. But with my background in avionics, knowing that you have to go the extra mile to really get an improvement, I said, well, come on down and we'll go upstairs into our listing room and listen to what he's developed.
那么，其实他在做这个他自己的这个音响事业的时候，他原先的产品就是比较偏重在扩大器这方面的产品，在数位的产品比较少。那么在一个偶然的机遇里面，他遇到一个人，就是 Mr. Watts 这个人啊，他是一个很厉害的一个数位工程师啊，他对 DAC 有特别的一个特别深入的技术上的见解跟那个开发的能力。那么他们就谈到了彼此合作啊，谈彼此合作的可能性。那结果这个 Mr. Watts 就跑去他的公司去工作。那么可是这个数位工程师说，我的技术跟我做出来的产品可能会很贵，就是价钱可能会很高啊。那其实对 John 来讲，其实他本来他卖的音响就是很高贵的音响，本来就是价格不便宜的，所以他对于价格这个issue，他其实他并不是很在意。他比较在意的是你是不是真的可以做出很好的 DAC 出来。
Okay, so Robert came to me with an idea of making a DAC, but not using a DAC chip. Normally, any engineer that designs a DAC, and there are many products out there from Sony to anywhere, they all use industry standard DAC chips. Now, these DAC chips are little pieces of silicon encased in plastic. They do a job quite well, but not brilliantly. And no matter what circuitry you hang around that chip, you're still limited to what's actually inside that little piece of silicon.
其实做 DAC 不是很困难的事情，因为现在市面上已经现成了很多的零件、晶片，Sony 公司或什么公司来做，谁要做都可以做。但是这种的晶片是为了 industry 而做的，就是它为了产业而生产，它是为了大量贩售，为了要普及化而做。那在做的过程里面，它可能会考虑到很多的因素，譬如说成本啦、售价啦等等因素，就是说它一定有采取一些妥协，它这个里面还是会有一些比如说它不完美的地方。这是目前所有的DAC 的产业用的这种零件。它共同的还是有存在一些不完美的问题在里面。Okay?
So instead of using a chip, Robert Watt's idea was to construct a DAC across a whole circuit board. using something called FPGAs, which were new devices. This was 20 years ago. And I said, how many of these FPGAs will we need? And what would they cost? He said, well, we need 4 of them. Four of these chips. Each one about is an inch across, a large piece of silicon with lots and lots of electronics on it. And we need 4. And I said, how much do they cost? And he said, about $50 each. Now, this is 20 years ago. Okay, so that's like $200 each now.
那他为了要改善这些 DAC， 他就说我们不要用现有的晶片，我们来自己写我们的程式啊，把它烧在一个叫 FPGA 里面这么大一颗的晶片。那这种东西中文叫做可程式化逻辑甲，就是说它里面的演算方式是你可以自己去写出来的啊。但是就问他，那你这个东西成本要多少？他说这一颗成本要50块美，20年前要50块美金。那你一台机器要用几颗？他说我一台机器要用4颗。那对于做这种产品的人来讲，光是这4颗零件就要50块，就200块美金的成本哦。那你这些软体的成本还有其他的架构都没有算进去的话，其实这是成本非常非常高的一种方式，或者一种理想而已。
So at that point in the early conversations that I had with Robert, I was thinking, you know, he must be crazy because it's going to be so expensive. And even if it sounds a little bit better, who's going to buy a DAC that's going to be so expensive? So with that in mind, we went up to our listening room, which is at the top of our building, and we listened. And frankly, I'd never heard digital music sound as good from this design. The guy, I realized, was actually a genius, a very, very clever guy. And what he'd come up with was orders of magnitude, many times better than anything from any of these chip DACs.
本来那个 Robert 提出这样的建议的时候，他是要放弃的，他觉得这个你简直是发疯了，你要花那么高的成本来做东西，那我将来要卖多少钱呢？哦，但是不管怎么样，总要做一个来试试看。结果在他们公司的顶楼做不断的试听，在比较的时候，他就发现不得了了，这个很聪明的家伙做出来的东西真的是不得了。他做出来的这种 DAC 的声音比传统的晶片的 DAC 的声音好太多了啊。OK。
Now, we are very lucky because Robert and I, the first collaboration resulted in a product, a DAC, called the DAC 64. It was about the same size as the CD player, and it was very successful. But obviously, at that time, originally when it was designed, it was about 22 years ago. We now have chips that are far more capable and have much lower power. And instead of needing 4 large chips, we can get away with one highly integrated chip that has a lot more transistors per size because of something called Gordon-Moore's law. It's called Moore's law, that every few years you can pack more transistors into a given chip. That's why a 1980s PC product was a great big block, and now you have a phone which is far more powerful but can easily sit in your pocket. So we've had 20 years of Gordon-Moore's law allowing us to pack more and more power, computing power into our DAC and DSP power. So when we developed the QBD, we had 16 digital DSP cores in on the one chip.
Okay. That's a bit too
I'm
long.
testing your passion.
Yes, I can talk longer than you say. 他说，其实那个时候他们遇到一件很幸运的事情，因为那个时候这个个人电脑事业跟全球的晶片产业开始起飞。开始起飞的时候，那个时候业界就是传出了，就是说有一种叫做摩尔定律。什么叫摩尔定律？就好像每隔什么2年那个 GPU 的速度就会快1倍啦，那个耗电量还要减1半啦。结果就是说，当初的设计 可能要用4颗晶片，然后要消耗很大的电力。可是技术越来越进步的时候，就是说它那个晶片里面的电路越来越细之后哈，电压越来越低之后，就是晶片会越来越省电。不但晶片越来越省电，而且到最后可能4个晶片会变成1颗晶片，这样的话就可以降低很多的耗电，也可以降低很多的成本。所以这是为什么他们去年可以推出那个可以装在口袋里面的那个 Hugo 那个小的 DAC 的原因，就是拜这个摩尔定律之赐，所有的技术都在进步，所以他们刚好 catch 到这个潮流，他们就占到这个东西这样子的一个趋势的一个便宜。OK。
So, with that 20 years ago technology, if we tried to design a Hugo, the Hugo would have been about as big as the box below, and the battery pack would weigh about 350 pounds. So that was the difference.
OK.
That has actually occurred.
OK， 他讲的很有趣的是，他说现在放在口袋里面的那个大家都知道那个 Hugo 那个 DAC 的话，如果以20年以前的技术来做的话，它会做成这么大一台，而且会重达100多磅。而且里面还要装一个非常大的电池才有办法去工作，所以可见20年来，其实它这个因为材料技术跟那个晶片技术的进步，已经可以使得同样功能的机器可以缩到非常非常的小。Okay?
So with Hugo, we were able to package a very, very powerful and accurate DAC. Some technologies into that, some technologies that no other company has. Even very powerful companies with lots of money, they do not have the capability to develop DACs the way we do. I'm very fortunate in working with Robert Watts.
OK， 但是有这样的技术进步跟晶片的体积缩小都还不够，重点是他们公司有时候 Robert Watts 这个 Mr. Watts 这个先生有办法设计出写出一个程式，可以让一个这么小的 DAC 可以有这么好的功能。别的公司因为它没有这个天才，即使现在有这么好的晶片技术，或者有这么好的材料技术，你没有这个人，没有这个天才，你还是做不出这个东西出来。
But even so, when I first brought the product out, everyone said £1,400 for a mobile DAC. Everyone said it won't sell. Well, actually, over this last year, we've sold 10,000 of them. 10,000, yes. It's been a very successful product. And I think the reason for that is that it's when it's demonstrated. When it's demonstrated, it's not just audiophiles that can perceive or hear a difference. It's anyone. Anyone, if you demonstrate a Hugo to anyone listening on headphones, they suddenly hear all of the information that was encoded in that original music. And because of that, they are just wowed and amazed.
那么一开始，这个 John 在公司里面提出来说，我要做一个这么小的、非常高级的 DAC 的时候，市场上的价格可能要定价定到1400英镑的时候，有人说你搞这么贵、这么小的东西，不会有人来买，但是他们做出来了之后，在1年之内，居然卖了1万颗变噪式 DAC， 居然卖了1万颗，而且它还不是真的全部都卖给那个玩音响的所谓的 audiophile， 他连一般的人，只是他喜欢用耳廓的人，或喜欢用耳机来听音乐的人，他只要听过这个 Hugo 这个声音的时候，他马上就可以辨识出来，哇，这个东西的声音比我以前所听过的耳廓声音都还要更好。这是他为什么这个产品能够那么迅速，能够这个占有市场，而得到这么多的一个赞赏的一个最重要的一个原因。
We did realize though, as soon as we put the product onto the market, was that a lot of people, you see, I thought it was going to be just the mobile users that would use this, but we found almost instantly that there are a lot of people that actually are playing around with very small systems. Small CD players, small, everything small, and on a small tabletop. And they said, well, we love the sound of the original Hugo, but we really want to use our big cables. We would also really like to have a longer Bluetooth range because sometimes we want to put it at the end of a room and connect to it. And originally, the original Hugo is only designed to go from hand to pocket, so it's a very short range. So there are various things, and what I did, I trawled through all of the hi-fi forums, and any complaint about Hugo, I thought, okay, we'll do that, we'll do that, we'll do that. So any complaint, I've tried to overcome with a desktop version. So it is bigger. It's bigger because it's got XLRs. It's also got lots of room around the cables, so people can use cables that are that diameter if they want to. I put on larger USBs. I put on things like galvanic isolation. In a static system, there is often a lot more noise and ground noise and RF noise coming from a big old PC, excuse me, shouldn't it be? Big old PC, rather than a small PDA or a phone. There's not a lot of noise from a small PDA, but there is often from a big computer. And in a static application, you know, that's what I wanted to improve. And we're able to do that and build that into this product. So it's got long Bluetooth range. It's got other features, like some people wanted a remote control. It's got memory recall. It's got literally anything that anyone ever moaned about. So that's gone into the product. We've also boosted the power, so it can drive anything to the nth degree. And another very clever feature is that Robert has very carefully.
Well, okay, it's a long.
Sorry.
It's too long. It's we can go into the moon. 啊，他的意思就是说啊，他那个Hugo非常成功啊，非常成功，卖了很多。那么，但是因为很多人呢，他是用在他一个小型的系统上，他发现他声音很好的时候，他们有一种想法，这有没有可能跟我的大的系统连接在一起？ 哦，或者有些人他根本就是说，你做的那么好，我根本不想买小的，我想买大的。好，那因为卖了很多，所以在网络上就有人跟他讲这些产品的缺点，啊，没有平衡端子啦，这个好像杂讯还不是到最好啦，还是有点杂讯啦，用起来不方便啦，因为我那个我的讯号线哦，这个重量哦很粗很重啊，会让这个机器摆得不稳啊，哦等等。 就那什么那个蓝牙的距离不够长啊，什么一大堆的抗议就会出现在网络上，他们就收集了所有在网络上的这些所有用的人的一些抗议的一些资讯，他们来回头重新想了一下，我们有没有办法把这个 Hugo 做大一点，但是把所有那些人的抗议的那些意见都集中起来，把它去改进，所以他们到最后终于做出了今天的这样子的一个机器出来。啊，这个机器有一个重点就是说，它里面抗噪讯的能力可能会特别强，哦，因为它大了，它里面可以放的电路就更多了。如果你的讯号是从电脑这边来的话，这个按理说声音应该可以更好。Okay.
So really, that is the combination of those issues. I wanted to make a desktop unit. And you may think, why desktop? Why? Well, it's called TT, it means tabletop. Why tabletop? And I really realized that there's been a fundamental paradigm shift in what the way people live today. When I was young, the average guy would decide to get married. And he would go, he would do his university, and then usually he would get married within a couple of years. And then he would have children, he would have a house, and he would be buying bikes for the children and hi-fis for the home. But, okay, I'll stop. What I'm saying is
他是讲的没有技术性的，他的意思就是说。 就是现在，其实他要看清楚这个社会哦，这个音响的消费趋势可能已经在改变了哦。他讲到很多年轻人结婚的一些问题啦，住房子的问题啦，要教养小孩的问题啦，大概是都要花很多钱了，大概是这种意思了哦。那他也不可能再做一个很大很贵的东西出来了， 他必须做一个大家都适合能用的一个东西出来，大概是这个意思。
So the average guy today doesn't see the need to get married like we used to. He's having too much fun. He's having good holidays. He's buying nice cameras. He's buying good watches, good cars if he wants one, or motorbikes. He's basically having a good time. He's got a girlfriend, of course. Normal guys, or maybe a boyfriend, whatever. But he's living with mum and dad. Because he's living with mum and dad, he can't play a big hi-fi. Even if if you take the average age for some European countries, the average age for a guy to leave his mother, take Italy, okay? The average Italian man, not the worst case, but the average, give me a year, how old do you think the guy is? 35? No, it's actually 42. That's,
42.
That's the average age when an Italian man now leaves his mother. This is statistics.
Really?
It's true, yes.
Okay. Let me translate. 我现在才知道他刚刚讲些什么东西了哦。他说现在年轻人哦，会吸引他们有兴趣的东西非常多啦，什么买摩托车啦，去这个去夜店啦，或者去运动啊，去干什么哈。那而且现在的这个年轻人，他基本上他晚婚还很晚离开家庭，他对家庭的依赖性非常的重，他都不愿意离开家哦。那我刚刚说，那是不是那些人35岁以前都不会离开家？哦，不是哦，他经过统计哦，整个欧洲平均下起来哦，这个所谓的年轻人哦，平均离开家的岁数是42岁了，你晓得吗？我现在也觉得很惊讶，说怎么会这个样子哦？那也就是说，他看到的这样的状况，会诱发他做这台机器的动机，是吗？是这样吗？我们再听他讲下去。OK。
And the only reason that he leaves his mother is because by the time he's 42, she's getting so old.
Yes.
She's getting too old to cook and clean for him. So he finally moves in with his girlfriend, who he's had for 25 years. Yeah. So, okay, he finally moves out by average when he's 42.
Yeah.
Because his mother is getting too old to cook and clean for him.
Yeah.
So he finally moves in with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
He's had a girlfriend for 20 years, but he hasn't lived with her. So I'm getting to a point here.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that because so many young guys are having a good time. Okay, they're living off the bank of mum and dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they have money, good holidays, whatever. They don't have any major debts. They have lots of money, but they don't have the thing they don't have is their own hi-fi space. They have a small table, often with good headphones. Now this isn't just Italy. This is in China. This is in Japan. This is in Korea. This is in England. This is everywhere around the world. And guys are messing around. They've got a PC. They've got a good bit of hi-fi gear, but it's all small stuff. And they're listening on very expensive headphones. So we, as a company, have found this massive market of guys that they want hi-fi, but they don't want big hi-fi, but they want the best.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing.
Okay. 还绕着个大圈子来解释这个市场形成的因素了啊。就是说这些啃老族啊，有一天是发现他的妈妈太老了，都没有办法煮东西给他吃了，他就跑去跟他女朋友住在一起了啊。然后其实这些人都没有什么钱呐，然后但是呢，他要消费最好的东西他要消费他买的耳机可能是最高级的他也会买一个很高级的一个小的音响，但是他买不起这种大型的音响，他也没有地方可以摆这个大的音响，所以这些复杂的因素。他研究过的时候说，中国是如此，日本也是如此说各国都是如此，所以他就觉得，我如果做一个这样的音响出来，那大概就可以适合这个市场上的需求。这样 ，OK？
So because he's limited space, sometimes his only listening space is that big, just between his ears. So we found these guys, and we as a company are making our best efforts to develop a whole range of products that are targeted at those guys. because we believe that the market is huge. So really, what I'm saying is we're imploring you we're imploring you to look at those markets, because that's where we believe it is growing very, very rapidly.
You mean in the future you will have the full range of this size of new unit, right?
Yes.
OK， 他看清楚了，这种大小的器材跟这种水准的器材应该有它的市场存在，而且市场可能会非常大，所以他们的规划不是只有做今天我们所看到的这一台机器，以后他们可能也会有其他的器材做成这样的 size， 然后但是品质要做得非常好，然后在市场上贩售。Okay?
I'm not saying that big hi-fi is going to disappear. It won't, but it will change, and it will become, because there are more people getting very rich.
Yeah.
It's likely that the systems will still, the big systems will still exist, but the way you actually get to those customers may be different. But the bulk of the average guy that's walking past the store, he will probably have only a small space for his hi-fi, but he will be very discerning on what he wants to buy. So that's what we're doing, and that's where we're working hard, and we've got a very exciting year coming through, not just with this product, but we've got other products coming through that I think will be really very exciting.
那么他说，这并不代表这大型的hi-fi音响就从此消失了。他说在这些没有很多钱、没有很多大空间的这些年轻人的消费族群里面，还是会有一小部分人最后会变得很有钱，他居住的空间可能会很大。那这种人还是会买这种大型的音响，但他讲大部分的没有这么多钱的人，他们的品味还是会很高的，他们退而求其次，要买那个小一点的，但是品质很好的音响。所以他们从去年开始，整年都在投入所有的精神来研究这些东西。那这些东西在今年就是慢慢就会出来了，这个是第一台，他就说非常 exciting， 就是说会非常刺激，也就是说他们会让整个的 Chord 的产品的一个形态有一个很大的一个转变。
Okay, I think that's probably about it.
Yeah.
But once again, thank you all for coming.
That's all.
What I would say is that if you have any questions at all, I'm very happy to answer anything.
他是讲市场形成的因素，暂时讲到这里，先给大家鼓个掌，好不好？大家来问问题，把它问到最好，问到最好。